Guys, today we have a guide on Revenant Act 2. It's here. It's brought us a new activity, that being Tomb of Elders, some new story beats, some new weapons to earn, as well as some upgrades to everyone's favorite feature this season, Tonics. Now keep in mind, this is our guide that is building on Act 1. And if you have not watched our Act 1 guide, a link to that will be in the description below. Today's focus is going to be on Act 2, the new activity, covering that extensively, how to get the most rewards from it, and of course covering these new Tonics, Fieldworks, all that jazz. So let's get started. Now, in order to unlock the new activity, you need to progress through the story, meaning you need to do Act 1 in its entirety. If you have not done Act 1, then you cannot begin Act 2 and therefore not get access to Tomb of Elders. But if you are caught up, you simply just need to talk to Mithrax in the last city. Yes, the narrative is actually getting pretty spicy here. You'll then talk to Ido at the Hall of Projector, which when complete will give you the Act 2 quest and task you with completing Tomb of Elders. Now, this is the shorter version of this activity, with Contest of Elders being the longer version where you loop through multiple times. But the comparison to be made here, guys, if you remember back in Season of the Wish, Riven's Lair was the shorter version, the Coil being the longer version. Now, to unlock the Contest of Elders version, you'll need to complete Tomb of Elders at least once. And then you're going to upgrade your tonic laboratory in the last city, and then you'll get access to the Contest of Elders version. Now, regardless of which version of the activity that you choose, they both start off the same way. You enter the prison, you head into the first encounter, that being the Cryopod here, and upon entering into any of the encounter rooms, a random modifier will be given to you. Now, these modifiers all have negative effects. None of them are here to help you, but at the same time, they're not entirely that difficult. You've got Brawn, where your health is massively increased but doesn't regenerate. Defeating challenging combatants will recover health for you and nearby allies. You've got Chill Touch, which actually got me killed a few times. Being hit by a melee attack slows you. Blast, which states that combatant splash damage is increased. Scrapper, combatant melee attacks are significantly more powerful. Grounded, damage taken while you're airborne is greatly increased. And Haste, moving quickly slowly regenerates your health. Standing still slowly deals damage, which is an interesting one. And by the way, some of these are even present inside of our Grandmaster Nightfalls now. Now, you also have your common ones, things like Famine, all ammunition drops are significantly reduced, and Counterfeits, which just got a slight nerf, which states that when defeated, combatants can drop explosives disguised as familiar items. Now, Bungie actually dialed back Counterfeit, so it's not nearly as lethal as it was previously. Now, as far as Tomb of Elders go in the activity itself, it's pretty straightforward. You'll get a random enemy faction that will start spawning, and your goal is just to defeat enemies in the room, which will be a mix of normal adds, mini bosses, and tougher combatants called model prisoners, which will reward you revive tokens when defeated. Now, during these encounters, a challenge will spawn, and this is by far the most important feature inside of both Tomb of Elders and Contest of Elders. Always pay attention to that text prompt to see what it says and what it asks you to do. It may ask you to do things like get kills with the Scorch Cannon, or only get kills with your special weapon or heavy weapon. This is vitally important because you could be running around thinking that you're fulfilling that challenge when in fact you're just getting kills with the primary weapon and you didn't even read what it asks you to do. And this is always going to be set on a timer, and there's various challenges throughout this activity. I will say for my folks that are doing Tomb of Elders, completing the challenge doesn't really matter as much as it just gives you like an ammo crate, but it matters a lot in Contest of Elders. Completing these challenges are going to increase a buff that you see occasionally at the top of your HUD. Now, you start off with Warden's Judgment, and completing a challenge will change it to Warden's Favor ×1, with each challenge increasing this up to Warden's Favor ×3. Now, you want to get this Warden's Favor buff as high as you can, as each tier will give you better rewards each time that you complete a loop, as well as when you ultimately finish the activity. Now, as you increase your Warden's Favor, the activity is also going to get more difficult. At ×1, you'll see a text prompt stating that combatant tier has been increased. At ×2, you'll say traps active and combatant tier increase again. And then finally at ×3, it will state that traps are active, combatant tier increase, and tighter bonus objective time limits. Now, if you fail any of these challenges, this actually takes away a stack of your Warden's Favor. And if you drop below the baseline of Warden's Judgment, you'll fall down to Warden's Punishment. Now, this also stacks up to ×3. Essentially, though, it's a means of making the encounter or set of encounters easier for you if you fall into Warden's Punishment. But you don't really want to do that, guys, because that, of course, affects your rewards negatively. Now, once the first Cryopod room is cleared out, you'll then move to the next cell block where you'll face one of the 4 enemy factions, and you'll be given a random modifier. Now, one of these will be the Taken in Dread room, where the main objective for this room will be to gather and dunk 12 Darkness Resonances. There's also the Scorn room, where you need to gather 6 explosives, and then essentially put them together, which will explode and remove the immune shield on a walker, allowing you to damage it. There's the Shadow Legion Cabal room, where you'll need to defeat enemies called Ordnance-Laden Demolitionists, which will will drop these unstable power units to throw at generators around the room, and once all 5 are destroyed, the shield in the center of the room will lower, allowing you to kill the gladiator enemies inside. And lastly, there's the Lucid Hive room. Here is where you're going to defeat wizards called bell ringers, as well as a hive guardian. Now this allows you to toll a bell in the center of the room, spawning more enemies, and the light blade, who will then drop his essence, allowing you to destroy the void crystals that are scattered around the room. Now of course, these are the different main objectives that you're going to be tasked to complete, but each one of these will have random challenges as well. Things like getting kills with special and heavy weapons, getting precision and ability final blows, completing the encounter quickly, getting scorch cannon final blows. For the most part, they are pretty easy challenges. No lie, the biggest challenge here is just getting blueberries to read. Sometimes I feel like a challenge prompt should jump up on the screen like, yo, there's a challenge, do it! And then like underline whatever it is, or put it in bold, the type of kills, like ability final blows. Put it all in caps, underline it, and bold it. Now after completing these encounters, you'll always have a traversal section. And these are a lot quicker than the ones back during the coil. You essentially just follow a path and defeat some enemies along the way if you wish, but during these traversal encounters, you'll also have a challenge that will be issued. And these may consist of finding and defeating the challenging combatant, which is just like a yellow bar enemy called an exhumed prisoner. Another is to collect these 5 energy pillars. You could also be tasked to just simply kill all the enemies in that traversal section. And the last challenge we came across was to reach the end of the traversal corridor quickly. Again, these are all pretty easy challenges, but if you're looking to maintain Warden's favor ×3, you definitely don't want to ignore what these challenges are asking for, even in that traversal section. Now, upon successfully doing these encounters and the traversal encounters, you'll finally be brought to the boss room. And these are pretty similar to the faction rooms, as they'll look the exact same depending on the enemy faction you're up against. And the mechanics are also pretty similar. For the Lucid Hive, for example, you'll have a Hunter Hive Guardian to defeat, and then you'll need to clear out the rest of the enemies, which includes lots of ads, as well as a Titan and a Warlock Hive Guardian. For the Taken and Dread room, you'll need to dunk these Resonants, which is 6 in total, and then you'll have to defeat Psylocke the Defiled. Now once you lower his shield, you've got about a minute there, or a minute and a half, to damage him. And yes, his shield will raise again, which will require you to dunk more Resonance. For the Scorn room, you'll need to collect 6 explosives, and then arm them together to lower the shield on the Machinist boss to then defeat him. And last but not least, we have the Shadow Legion Cabal. This is where you're going to need to defeat those Demolitionist enemies to drop the unstable power units to then throw at the Thresher. This will then reveal the Scion Commander that you could then damage. Now once you get these Scions to half health, you'll need to find the 3 shielded Scions and defeat them before you can continue damaging the boss. Now these boss rooms have critical challenges to complete, which in my opinion is what is the most difficult aspect of these boss encounters. One of these is to activate all energy switches to vent poison. That one's honestly not that bad at all, but you'll see these lower levels of the arena turn green with gas that deals damage over time that you're sitting in them while you're going through the process of disarming them and venting out those areas. Another critical challenge is to find and defeat the Rifleman, who is hidden around the arena, and there's also 2 clones of him. And finally, the last critical challenge we encounter was to disable 3 splinter mines in the arena. Now there could be multiple labeled mines all around the map. The ones you need to disarm are the ones that are the real mines. The fake ones, if you look closely at them, will have like this arc crackling energy around the mine itself. That's the fake one. You do not want to capture those, as when you stand in them, they will kill you. So only capture the normal looking mines, not the ones with the arc stuff around it. Now again, throughout all of this, guys, you want to do these critical challenges to get Warden's favor ×3. That's essentially the ultimate goal here, as when you complete the boss room, you'll then head to the Warden's office to collect some rewards. Now in this room, you'll always get 1 chest, even if you're at Warden's punishment. But if you're at Warden's favor ×1, you get 1 extra chest. At Warden's favor ×2, you'll get the extra chest and a rally flag. And then Warden's favor ×3, you'll get 2 extra chests for 3 total and a rally flag. Now after collecting your rewards, the Warden will judge you. And if you are at any tier of the Warden's favor buff, he'll actually let you skip the Cryopod Encounter and go right to the faction room. Now if you're wondering what happens if you're at Warden's punishment, was actually kind of cool. You'll head back to the Cryopod Encounter, and for your challenge, you'll need to repel the Warden's servitor by attacking it. And depending on how much damage you do to the Warden, he'll reduce your Warden's punishment. And this seems to continue on in the next room, or at least until you repel him enough, as after 2 rooms, we were able to go from Warden's punishment ×3 up to just starting the point of Warden's judgment. So this can be a very nice way to get players out of the negative if they do find themselves struggling in Contest of Elders. Now in total, you're gonna loop through Contest of Elders 4 times. And at the very end, instead of visiting the Warden's office, you'll travel back to the central airlock, which is where the Cryopod first encounter is, and there will be an vent that will open up. And this is what leads us to the treasure room. Here you'll find the big gold chest in the middle, and depending on what your Warden's favor score is, you'll also get bonus bonus chests. So if you end at Warden's favor times 3, you'll get 4 total chests. Now, one thing I do want to note here is I had some folks in the chat asking me if I got a platinum run and what the rewards are. And you'll notice yourself, guys, when you open the center chest, it says champion rewards bronze. At least for me. Everyone in my chats, my editing squad, and myself, we just kept getting bronze today. Now, to be quite honest, guys, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Maybe it's a visual bug. Maybe there is, in fact, a way to get platinum. It's not like there's any champions in this activity, though. But as far as I've seen, guys, no one has gotten anything above a bronze. No silver, no gold, and no platinum. Now, if you've gotten platinum, please feel free to tag me over on our Twitter. Show me a screenshot of you getting platinum. And I'm really curious to know if the rewards change at all for you. But we tried it so many different ways, guys. We maintained Warden's favor times 3 all the way through and still only got champion rewards bronze. I don't know if this is going to be like an addition that's added to this activity like next week or the week after, but currently right now, we have not been able to get above bronze. Now, as far as the best builds and stuff like that, especially for Contest of Elders, we'll be doing build battles all throughout this week, guys. Feel free to come by the stream. I would say I had a lot of success with a lot of different things. It's not an overly challenging activity. I would say pretty much any build that we've covered in our previous build battles will serve you just fine. Now, with all that out of the way, let's jump into our tonics, as well as our new Act 2 Fieldworks. Now, for our new tonics, we have the Diluted Tonic of Brawling. This adds the boost to the artifact perk, the Thick of It. Then we have the Potent Tonic of Brawling, which provides the boost for the Curative Orbs artifact perk, which is really good. Now, lastly, we have the Refined Tonic of Brawling. This boosts both the Thick of It and the Curative Orbs. Now, every variant of the Brawling Tonic also reduces the incoming damage from combatants that are at point blank range. We also have a few new tonics for each of our new weapons, the Noxious Vetiver, the Scavenger's Fate, as well as Grit Skipper. And you can also craft tonics specifically for Tomb of Elders if you want to focus drops for the seasonal weapons. But oddly enough, it doesn't seem like all the weapons are present here, but it does allow for some overlap, or more specifically, the ability to focus these weapons while also playing Tomb of Elders. Keep in mind though, with all the tonics here, guys, what I do like about them when it comes to a reward structure is that as you complete activities throughout the game, whatever tonic you have slotted will reward you with that weapon, or have a chance of rewarding you with that weapon on activity completions. Now, lastly, we have some new tonics that we unlock for completing the new Fieldworks present at Ida. And that takes us to how to complete those Fieldworks. Again, just like in Act 1, guys, these will serve essentially the same function by having us go to different locations and completing different objectives. Now, the good thing is that there is some slight overlap. For instance, Minor Fieldwork 1 Europa. This requires us to complete 3 bounties from Varix, as well as to collect the mysterious object. Now, we're going to show you each one of these objects, but the object here is located nearest to the fast travel point at Karen's Crossing. Essentially, you just want to travel to that fast point, and you'll jump up to the top of the building that Varix is located in. And you're going to head towards the giant satellite, and you'll see the object here that's glowing. You'll then also drop down below, pick up the 3 bounties from Varix, and the beautiful thing is that you can overlap this with Minor Fieldwork 2 Europa, as this requires you to get 25 melee kills while on Europa, in addition to collecting another object. Now, the object for this fieldwork is located in the Asterian Abyss, right near all the ruins. And you'll see it right up here, guys. Again, look for the little glowing icon, but you'll hop on up and you'll snag that second object for Europa. Now, as far as the bounties to grab from Varix, I just grabbed the daily ones. Really, you can grab any of them, but these, of course, change day to day. But it may ask you to do things like get solar kills, or kill Vex, or kill Fallen, or even kill certain enemy types in a specific area. I personally love to overlap, though, certain requirements. So if it says something like, hey, get solar kills, well, then I'm going to go and try to get consecration kills, as I also need to get 25 melee kills for Minor Fieldwork 2. And that way you're knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, next we have the Minor Fieldwork 3. This is going to take place on the moon. And this has us going to the moon to collect another object. But it also asks us to rapidly defeat combatants. Now, what's nice about this is you can actually complete part of Minor Fieldwork 4, which is also present on the moon. Again, more overlap. This would task us with completing 5 altars of sorrow, as well as collecting a mysterious object. Now, first up, let's just go over the object to collect for each one of these. We have the Minor Fieldwork 3, and this is located right in front of the fast travel point near Eris. You just want to head on over there, and upon loading in, you'll see it glowing right in front of you. Then for Minor Fieldwork 4, the object is located in Sorrow's Harbor, just to the right of Altar of Sorrows and that boss platform that he spawns in on. As far as just completing Altars of Sorrows, guys, again, just chill there. I feel like this is one of the most active public space activities in the game. You'll find a team in no time that are actively doing it. You'll knock out 5 waves of Altar of Sorrows, and in the process, you'll easily finish rapidly defeating those combatants. Now, once all of your fieldworks are completed, you can head back to the last city. You can display your findings by going going here to the shelf, little dopamine hit. Then you speak with Ido to claim your rewards, which are these small tonic reagent sacks, essentially ingredients. But this allows us to move on to the major fieldworks. Now, the major fieldworks are actually easier in my opinion, or they take less time than the minor fieldworks. We have the major fieldwork 1. This takes place on Nessus, and it simply just has us heading over to the area marked on Nessus, which is going to be located in the cistern. Now, upon reaching the location, you'll see a table which asks you to drink this experimental tonic. And upon doing so, this places you inside of a mission where you have to kill a whopping 15 enemies in under 2 minutes. Honestly, stupid easy. It's kind of insulting at this point how easy it is. Now, upon completing this, you'll also get some story dialogue. Next, we have the major fieldwork 2, which takes place on the moon, which is more of the same. Instead, though, this time you head on over to the Hellmouth on the moon. You're gonna find that table. You'll drink the drink. You'll get teleported in. You'll kill the 15 enemies, and boom, you're done. Now, upon completing the first major fieldwork, this will give excess tonics, which actually gives you a chance to receive an additional tonic during synthesis in Ido's laboratory. Now, the second major fieldwork gives Tonic Reaper, which grants additional reagents and reputation upon completing bonus objectives in the Tomb of Elders. Now, when you turn this into Ido, you'll get the medium tonic reagent sack, which allows us to now move on to the Act 2 Key Fieldwork. Now, for the Key Fieldwork, this has us help Ido conduct fieldwork located in the Tomb of Elders. Now, this will be a separate node located in the last city, right above the Onslaught nodes. Now, this essentially launches you into a mission, and upon completing said mission, you'll then be asked to return to the last city to upgrade the tonic laboratory. And once completed, you talk to Ido to earn a large tonic reagent sack. And this allows you to make tonics of enhancement cores similar to the Glimmer tonic from Act 1. Now, when it comes to these tonics, guys, just like our tonics from Act 1, in order to unlock each variant of these tonics, you first need the ingredients. And again, you can check down below where all of these ingredients drop, but you'll need enough ingredients for the base versions of these tonics. You'll turn them in, and upon turning them in, a new rarity will eventually unlock. So for instance, I turn in the green ones until eventually the blue one unlocks. Then I turn in the blue ones till various purple ones unlock, so on and so forth. And if you're looking to ever get exotic tonics, keep in mind exotic tonics for things like exotic ciphers, ascendant shards, ascendant alloys, those things just randomly drop when you're making purple tonics. So as you're sitting there like making multiple purple tonics, occasionally an exotic one will drop for you. And this is a great way to top our resources for literally everything in the game. It just simply requires us to get the ingredients necessary. And again, the way the ingredients really work is there is some slight overlap from ingredients from Onslaught that you've collected and also ingredients from Tomb of Elders. But when it comes to unlocking the reward tonics from Tomb of Elders, again, it'll say things like Tomb Ashes. That obviously means you have to play Tomb of Elders or Contest of Elders to get that specific ingredients. Now, for the specific tonics to turn in to unlock those purple rarities, again, you want to turn in on the Tomb of Elder tonics, the green one here, until the 2 blue ones unlock. You then want to turn in the tonic of Vintage Tomb Weaponry. That right there will unlock things like Grid Skipper, allowing you to focus Grid Skipper while playing in Tomb of Elders, or really any activity, as that will have a chance of dropping Grid Skipper, which is one of the rewards we're going to be chasing heavily this week. And the other blue tonic, Tonic of Tomb Weaponry, that unlocks the ability to focus the new SMG and the new Precision Void Shotgun. And that's essentially the loot layouts for my folks out there that are going to be playing and grinding Tomb of Elders, which of course applies to Contest of Elders. So that's it, guys. That is Act 2 in our new activity, as well as the upgrades here to our tonics. Let me know in the comments below if we missed anything. I know the tonic system isn't everyone's favorite. I kind of like it because, again, it has some overlap there and allowing me to play the activities I want while still allowing me to grind for certain weapons and items. And in a rule where I'm constantly out of Glimmer, these Glimmer tonics, oh my God, they're saving my life right now. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.